I know you want to talk about tax reform, but I do want to start with the humanitarian disaster unfolding in the American territory of Puerto Rico. The president has been attacking San Juan Mayor Yulín Cruz, tweeting such poor leadership ability by the mayor of San Juan and others in Puerto Rico who are not able to get their workers to help. They want everything to be done for them when it should be a community effort. 10,000 federal workers now on island doing a fantastic job. What exactly does President Trump mean when he says they want everything to be done for them? Who is they, and what is the everything they want done for them?
I think what the president's trying to get at is that folks think this is going to be easy. They saw what happened in Texas, they saw what happened in Florida, and they thought, oh, this is easy to do. And it's not. This was an island that was absolutely devastated, not by one hurricane, but by two. I think it's 1,100 miles from the nearest mainland American port. This was always going to be harder, and we knew that, which is why we positioned assets on the island before the storm. It's why we have 10,000 people on the island right now. But I think it's possible that folks just said, oh, this will be easy, and they're surprised that it's taking as long as it is, and it's not going to be easy. It's never been easy. But we're doing things on Puerto Rico, Jake, that we didn't even do in Texas or Florida. We've actually given Puerto Rico more tools than we brought to bear in those other states because we had to, because of its location, because of the scope of the devastation. I think it's unfair to say that we haven't done everything we can, because we have done everything that we can and will continue to do so. It's unfortunate that the Puerto Rico mayor wants to, the San Juan mayor wants to sort of go against the grain. We'd love to have her on the team as we all pull in the same direction. My understanding is that as of yesterday, she had not even been to the FEMA Operations Center in her own city. So we need to get her involved along with the other 70-odd mayors on the island and the governor. Everybody's there. We'd love her to have her on the team as well.
I want to read you a passage from conservative writer Eric Erickson, who was dismayed at President Trump's tweets. He said, quote, "Yay, President Trump punched a critic who's on an island trying her best to help others where most of the people now have no homes and no power and no running water. What a man he is." He was being very critical, Eric Erickson, a conservative, of the fact that President Trump is punching down and attacking a mayor in the middle of a horrific humanitarian crisis. Can you understand why some Americans see these tweets from the president and feel revulsed?
I work in the Trump administration, Jake, and I've known from day one that there's folks who want to see this administration fail, that they look for opportunities to try and say, oh, look, they're not doing a great job. Judge us by the actions, please. Judge us by what's happening on the island. Judge us by the men and the women who have worked tirelessly. I was on a show earlier today with Brock Long, whose team, I think, has been working for 40 days straight now in the various storms since Harvey hit Texas more than a month ago. The outpouring of effort, the outpouring of work done by federal workers, by American citizens, by folks from all over the country. There's folks from almost every state, I think, in Puerto Rico helping right now. That's how we should measure the response to this storm, not by Mr. Erickson's comments.
Let me show you one last tweet from President Trump, and then we'll get to tax reform. He wrote, quote, "To the people of Puerto Rico, do not believe the hashtag fake news." Director Mulvaney, as I'm sure you know, 95% of the people of Puerto Rico are without power. 89% have no cell service, so they're not seeing this news that the president's attacking. But beyond that obvious disconnect, these stories that CNN is reporting on the ground in Puerto Rico, firsthand accounts from American citizens in dire need, without food, without water, without power, do you think these stories are fake?
No, what you all have done, I've watched a lot of the coverage of showing what's happening on the ground, is entirely accurate. I think what you've not shown, however, is the federal effort that we've got in place down there, and the fact that the governor has been very complimentary of the administration. Again, I think there's more than 70 mayors on the island of Puerto Rico, and yet you seem to spend a lot of attention on the one from San Juan. So I think that's where the president's pushback is. I don't know if there's been coverage, for example, that we've now made it to every single town. The search and rescue effort is over. We've made it to every single place on the island to make sure that folks are safe. Yes, it is slow to get the power turned back on, and there's a variety of reasons for that, including the condition of that infrastructure before the storm. But the progress is there, and the effort is there, and I think it's unfair to say that the president hasn't given it his very best effort, because he absolutely has.
President Trump unveiled his tax plan this week. He called it a miracle for the middle class. Can you tell us what percentage of the tax benefit goes to the people in the top 1%, people who make more than $730,000 a year?
No. In fact, I don't think anybody can. Anybody who says they can is simply lying to you. Why is that? It's because the bill is not finished yet. Keep in mind, what we introduced this week, Jake, was the framework, was sort of the basic agreement between the White House and House and Senate leadership. What's missing from that, and it's not being hidden, it just doesn't exist yet, are things like details on the deductions, details on the brackets. It is impossible to sit down and say, this will be the impact on this wage earner or this family at this particular time. What assumptions are you going to make about the state and local tax deduction removal? What assumptions are you going to make about where the brackets are set? These are things that get done during the ordinary course of business in Congress, which I understand will start in the House this week. Yes, there are folks who are vested or have a vested interest in saying it's going to be a giveaway to the rich or that it's a bad plan. Those are folks who probably wrote those press releases long before the framework was released. So I've seen the criticisms, and all I can tell you is that no one can make real detailed analysis of the plan yet because it's not finished.
So this is what President Trump said on Wednesday about the tax plan. Take a listen.
Our framework includes our explicit commitment that tax reform will protect low-income and middle-income households, not the wealthy and well-connected. They can call me all they want. It's not going to help. I'm doing the right thing, and it's not good for me, believe me.
The wealthy and the well-connected are not going to benefit from this plan, really?
Actually, what you just saw, that's what I see in the Oval Office every single day. What's driving this? There's two real red lines, if you want to use that type of language. There's two basic principles that the President is absolutely insisting on as this bill moves through the House. Number one, when it comes to the middle class, they will pay less, and it will be easier for them to pay. I think one of the things that's been lost in this debate is that 90% of American families, not businesses, but families, pay someone else to do their taxes. That's going to end with this plan. That's primary principle number one for the President. Number two, that corporate rate has got to come down. The corporate rate has to be, I think right now the number is 20%. We were pushing for 15. We got some pushback from the House and Senate leadership, so the 20% proposal is on the table right now. What does that do? That's the change that encourages businesses to come back from overseas. That's the change that encourages foreign businesses to set up shop here and to have businesses invest in their workers again so that productivity can get up and economic growth will return to the nation. Those are the two primary principles. When you hear the President say he doesn't really care what happens to the top 1%, that's real for him. This really is about the middle class and the corporate tax rate for the President.
All right, Director Mulvaney, as we get more details of the tax plan, I look forward to talking to you about them.
Oh, thanks, Jake.